You might be a young adult librarian if
you've ever done cartwheels in the middle of the teen room. Okay.
Welcome to Q&A the Librarian Way, and happy Halloween!
Woo-hoo!
I'm Julia from Sunbeam Yellow.
And I'm Emily from the Gnoming Librarian.
And this week our question comes from Allison McLean, and we are going to talk about how to foster a positive teen environment in your library.
Working in a public library is a little different than working in a school library. A school library has a captive audience. A public library, you really have to work on bringing the teens in. And one way to make sure that you're fostering a positive environment in your public library is to get your whole staff involved. I'm not sure what situation you find yourself in your library. When I started at my library, there wasn't a great culture with teens. We had an after-school police officer. They got kicked out quite often, the teenagers. So the first thing I did was to make sure that the staff as well as the teens understood my rules and expectations. I got the staff involved in programming because I wanted them to see how I interacted with teens. And I made sure that if there ever was a problem with the teenager that they called me and had me deal with it. I wanted the teenagers to get used to having me around, and I also wanted the staff to see how I interacted with them every single day in both positive and negative situations. So make sure you take that time to get your staff involved at your library.
Even in a school, when you have students around the library every day, you still have to entice the kids to come to the library. And one way that is great at doing that is by thinking teen when you design your space. When a student walks into the library, they should feel like it was designed for them. So sometimes that means putting up all kinds of student artwork in the library. My ceiling tiles in the library have been painted by students to look like book covers. We have all kinds of giant 3D art projects that the students have created, and they just love coming in and seeing themselves somewhere in the library. And just walk around your library and look at different things and see how you could change it to make it more teen friendly. When I started in my library 5 years ago, all of my chairs kind of had an 80-year-old woman's flower pattern on them, and it just wasn't screaming teen. So I grabbed my friend, the art teacher, and together we reupholstered the chairs that had more teen-friendly fabric to them. And just think about all the signs that you put up in your library. Students are tired of seeing signs that are just printed off of Microsoft Word. So change things around. Change the lyrics to a popular song to have a book theme to it. Or take something from popular culture like a red box and turn it into a read box. Just think of different ways to take things from our popular culture and change it to make it a teen-friendly library space.
Nothing discourages teens more than a very long list of rules of things they cannot do. So instead of having rules for your teen space or your library, make sure you try expectations. It gives the teens the benefits of the doubt. You're showing them that you trust them enough to know how to behave in the library. They don't always, but you're showing them that you care enough to give them that free rein to do what they need to do. So instead of don't do this, try we expect appropriate behavior. We expect no foul language. We expect you to know how to act in the library at any particular time. We expect you to respect both the other teens and the staff in the library. So just change the wording. That can go a very long way in dealing with teens and fostering a positive environment.
I feel that I need to market my library outside of my library walls, and I want students to remember the library when they're not inside it. So I put signs up throughout the building of different students holding different books or different teachers holding different books. And I also go frequently on our morning announcement show to book talk or talk about what's new in the library, because I just want students to get familiar with me even when they're not inside the library.
Get your teens involved in the library. Let them make decisions that affect them. Start a teen advisory board. Now, I'm not sure, again, what situation you're coming from. If you are just starting a teen program at your library, don't feel like you have to jump in with a teen advisory board. It took me 3 years to start mine. The teens were always giving me input, but I didn't start a formal club until 3 years into my career at my library. But it gives them an opportunity to have a voice. Let them plan programs, host programs. Let them tell you what they want from the library. They start to see it as their library, and that's what's really important. But make sure you take the time to build those relationships and form something that is going to carry on through the years, and that there'll be a mentor group, which is really cool. Our teens have become mentors for the younger group, and we're starting to pull in new members all the time. So take that time to build relationships and build a group that can help the library and let the library know what the teens need.
And finally, you need to remember to have fun as a young adult librarian, because if you're having fun and showing enthusiasm, your students will do that too. I'm an introvert by nature, but this is one career where sometimes you have to be an extrovert, and you have to be willing to play with the students. They have to feel comfortable with you. So whether you're doing cartwheels in the library, or maybe you're just as excited about Breaking Dawn Part 2 coming out in the theaters as the students are, or willing to put a crown on your head on Halloween. Whatever those things are, you just need to show your personality. Go outside your comfort zone and be willing to show the teens that you will go down to their level in a way to have fun with them.
Thank you again for joining us. We want to thank Allison for her wonderful question. If you have any additional comments or suggestions on how to foster a positive teen environment, make sure you leave them below, and we would love to get your questions, so make sure you're leaving those below as well.
And next week, Emily will be back with a short video on her experiences with NaNoWriMo. And then the following week, we'll be back together to talk about how you can incorporate NaNoWriMo into your library. So we'll see you then.
Bye. Hey Julia, who are you checking out?
I'm checking out Connor from Unholy, the second book in the Unwind trilogy by Neil Shusterman. If you haven't checked out this series, you have to. Who are you checking out, Emily?
I am checking out Clem from Life, an Exploded Diagram by Mal Peet. It's set in the 1960s over in England, so we have the Cuban Missile Crisis going on in America, and you have this young boy falling in love with a girl he shouldn't over in England. So it's really good. I've really enjoyed it.
See you next week.